Okay, so today is Martin Luther King Day. It's also the presidential inauguration day. So I watched the inauguration. I figured somebody around here should. Because I really think we need to integrate Dharma with, as I've been saying, every aspect of our life. So what was very interesting for me is there was a lot of talk about coming together as a people and working together and being together and doing things together and being unified and creating equality and justice and all the values, all the things we heard when we were in grade school that we felt so good about then. And and feel good about now, except we're a lot more seasoned. So there was a lot of talk about that. And there were prayers and hymns and these kinds of things. But all the prayers and hymns were, please bless us, so that the country prospers, so that there's equality, so there's, please bless us. So from outside, please bless us. And the word love didn't come at all until the very last benediction. Then it was once. There was no mention of compassion. One mention of tolerance. But in all of this, where people have nice values and things, there was nothing that said, but we have responsibility to cultivate those values within ourselves. It was always we should have them in society, but how are we going to have good values in society if we don't cultivate them in our own hearts? And how can we talk about justice and equality and so forth if we don't really care about each other? All these values that the country loves and waves the flag about, all are based on human beings caring about each other. And there was no mention of that at all, in any of the hymns, in the prayers, in the speeches, anything. No mention about us caring for each other. And I think this is the core, and this is the thing that we all have to cultivate in our own heart. Not just pray outside for somebody to bless us with, or to bless us with a good circumstance, but to really do our own homework and cultivate within our own hearts an attitude that cares about the other living beings that we share the planet with. Yeah, because without that, there's no basis for really a social discourse, because otherwise it's just everybody saying, my right is this and I want that. Yeah, but to really come together, we have to care about each other. And so cultivating love, cultivating compassion, and these are things that we have to be responsible for in our own hearts and minds, that nobody can legislate for us, that no law is going to bring about in our own hearts, something that we have to put our own energy into. So just as they were speaking about working hard, and the American dream of if you work hard, you can do anything you want. Well, we're going to work hard and become the most compassionate we can be. Okay, and the most caring we can be. And instead of working hard to develop more widgets, because we already have so many, and they're constantly developing more, we don't need to help with that. What we need to help with is developing what's inside and sharing that with other living beings so that people can have the correct motivation when they're working hard. Because working hard without a good motivation leads to all sorts of not so good things. Technology and science are not good inherently or from their own side. It depends on what we do with them. And so, to use them wisely, we have to have a kind heart. So that's what we're doing here on the retreat. Okay, we're working on ourselves. We're trying to cultivate our own kind hearts. Yeah. Now you might say, well, how in the world is meditating on my insides going to help me to cultivate a kind heart? And how in the world is just trying to identify the conventional nature of the mind or being aware of my feelings going to help me cultivate a kind heart? Okay. Well, if you think about it, one of the sources or one of the bases on which we create so much affliction is our body, because we don't have a realistic view of our body, we become attached to it. We develop a lot of anger when the happiness of our body is interfered with. We get angry at our body when it gets sick, or when it gets old, when it doesn't do what we want. Yeah. So a lot of what we're doing together in society, in our economy, is taking care of the body. Yeah. But if we don't have a proper understanding of what the body is, the way we take care of it is going to be a little off. Yeah. Whereas if we can have a proper understanding of what our body is and not be so attached to it, then we can really see what taking care of our body means. And then when we're cultivating love and compassion and developing social policies for other people who have bodies who are sick, who are aging, who are infants and trying to grow, when we're trying to really do something for the common good, we can help people also deal with what's going on in their mind about their body, and we'll be able to really help people deal with their bodies in a more constructive way because we have the wisdom that understands our body in a more realistic way. Okay? So whatever we're learning about ourselves for establishments of mindfulness, we realize that it applies to everybody. Okay? So when you're meditating on the insides of your body, or when you're fed up with your own mind and your own afflictions, or when you're feeling sorry for yourself, or when you're, feeling total delight, just remember, it's common to every single living being. And most living beings don't have a way to understand what their experiences are. They don't understand their bodies, their feelings, their mind, the phenomena around them. Okay? So by us, cultivating this kind of understanding and bringing wisdom to it, we can help others in that way. And we can have compassion for others who have the same problems as we do. Okay? So, I think, when, let's take that as our inauguration message. Yeah? And not just be inspired by the tabernacle choir singing glory, glory, hallelujah. Let's make glory, glory, hallelujah a reality with our own wisdom and compassion. Okay? Then there's some meaning. Okay? And I think Martin Luther King had this kind of understanding, because of his whole approach was nonviolent. So he understood that social change happens on the basis of human beings genuinely caring about each other. And so to honor him, I think cultivating these qualities in our own heart is a very good way to do that.